Ultralight aircraft provide one of the most exhilarating and purest ways to experience the joys of aviation. These lightweight, affordable, and exciting machines deliver a flying experience that's unmatched by traditional aircraft. Whether you're a seasoned aviation enthusiast or a beginner pilot, ultralight aircraft offer an exciting and accessible entry point into the world of flight. When discussing about ultralight aircraft, many people immediately think of the traditional fixed-wing models, but there are various types available. Here are some of the most intriguing ultralight aircraft, each offering a unique flying experience, allowing pilots to find the perfect match that best suits their preferences and style. Rotorcraft. A rotorcraft, or rotary wing aircraft, is a type of heavier-than-air aircraft that generates lift through rotating wings or rotor blades. These blades rotate around a vertical mast, and when several blades are mounted on a single mast, they are collectively referred to as a rotor. The International Civil Aviation Organization defines a rotorcraft as an aircraft that is supported in flight by the reactions of the air on one or more rotors. Rotorcraft typically include aircraft where one or more rotors provide lift throughout the entire flight, such as helicopters, autogyros, and gyrodynes. Compound rotorcraft enhance the rotor's capabilities with additional thrust engines, propellers, or static lifting surfaces. Some types of rotorcraft, like helicopters, can take off and land vertically. Helicopters use one or more powered rotors to fly and maintain directional control, while gyroplanes use a traditional engine and propeller for thrust, relying on an unpowered rotor for lift. Although helicopters and gyroplanes may look similar, there are key differences between them. Helicopters, with their powered rotors, can hover and take off and land vertically, while gyroplanes generally require a short runway for takeoff and landing and cannot hover unless there is a modest wind. Gyroplanes tend to be simpler in both operation and construction, but both helicopters and gyroplanes can be built from plans or kits or purchased fully assembled. There are a few rotorcraft that qualify as ultralights, such as the Mosquito XC, Air Scooter, and others. These ultralight rotorcraft provide a unique flying experience while adhering to the minimal regulatory requirements typical of ultralight aviation. Powered parachutes. Powered parachute, or simply PPC, also known as a motorized parachute or paraplane, is a type of aircraft that consists of a parafoil attached to a motor and wheels. According to the FAA, a powered parachute is defined as a powered aircraft with a flexible or semi-rigid wing connected to a fuselage, where the wing is not positioned for flight until the aircraft is in motion. The fuselage houses the aircraft's engine, seats for occupants, and is connected to the landing gear. During flight, due to the design of the parafoil, powered parachutes typically maintain a fixed airspeed, usually between 25 to 35 miles per hour, and they can operate safely at altitudes ranging from just a few feet above the ground for low-level maneuvers to over 10,000 feet, though typical operating heights are between 500 and 1,500 feet above ground level. With fuel tanks ranging from 5 to 15 gallons, depending on the engine and weight limitations, powered parachutes can generally be flown for about 3 hours before needing to refuel. They also have very short takeoff and landing rolls, sometimes requiring less than 100 feet. Powered parachutes are among the most affordable aerial vehicles, offering a cost-effective entry into aviation. A new single-seat powered parachute may cost around $10,000, while a two-seat version starts at approximately $20,000, with top-end models costing $35,000 or more, depending on the options. In the United States, many of the smallest single-seat powered parachutes are flown under CFR 14 Part 103 of the Federal Aviation Regulations, classifying them as ultralight aircraft. This allows them to be flown without a license or formal flight instruction, although training is highly recommended. Most students can learn to fly a powered parachute safely with 5 to 10 hours of flight instruction. However, two-seat PPCs are classified as light sport aircraft in the US, requiring the pilot to have at least a sport pilot certificate issued by the FAA. To obtain this certificate, a minimum of 12 hours of flight instruction, including 2 hours of solo flying as a student pilot, is required. Trikes or weight shift control. A trike or paratrike is a type of ultralight-powered hang glider where flight control is achieved through weight shift. These aircraft feature a fabric flex wing from which a tricycle fuselage pod is suspended. This pod is driven by a pusher propeller and can accommodate either a solo pilot or a pilot with a single passenger. Trikes offer an affordable, accessible, and thrilling flying experience, making them popular since the 1980s. In Europe, trikes are classified as microlights, while in the United States, they are categorized as either ultralight aircraft or light sport aircraft, depending on their weight and other regulatory factors. Trikes are also known by various other names, including two-axis microlights, flex-wing trikes, microlight trikes, delta trikes, or motorized delta planes. The Federal Aviation Administration in the United States formally recognizes them as weight shift control aircraft. Today, modern trikes are available from multiple manufacturers in both single-seat ultralight versions and two-seat light sport aircraft. Additionally, some more conventional ultralight designs exist where the pilot sits suspended in a harness and controls the aircraft by shifting their body back and forth. Powered fixed wing. This category is by far the broadest, encompassing a wide range of designs from basic open-frame structures to fully enclosed cockpits with streamlined designs. Fixed-wing microlights are aircraft with a rigid wing, typically made from lightweight composite materials. This design contrasts with flex-wing aircraft, which have fabric-based wings that can subtly flex depending on wind conditions. Fixed-wing ultralights can be constructed from wood and fabric, aluminum, or advanced composites, and can be built from plans or kits, or purchased fully assembled and ready to fly. These powered fixed-wing aircraft gain forward thrust from an engine. To qualify as an ultralight-powered fixed-wing aircraft, specific weight regulations must be followed. For example, in the United States, the FAA explicitly states that ultralight vehicles are not classified as aircraft and are therefore exempt from aircraft regulations. Instead, they are treated as power sports items and must adhere to their own set of rules under FAR 103, which is the most compact aviation regulation in existence. Powered gliders. Powered paragliding, also known as paramotoring or PPG, is a type of ultralight aviation where the pilot wears a backpack motor, called a paramotor, that provides enough thrust to take off using a paraglider. This setup allows the pilot to launch in still air and on level ground without any assistance. Powered paragliders typically fly at speeds between 15 and 50 miles per hour and can reach altitudes ranging from just above ground level to about 18,000 feet or higher with special permissions. Because of the paramotor's slow forward speed and the soft nature of the wing, flying in high winds, turbulence, or intense thermal conditions can be risky, especially for inexperienced pilots. The paramotor, which weighs between 45 and 90 pounds, is supported by the pilot during takeoff. After a short run, usually around 10 feet, the wing lifts the motor and pilot off the ground. Once airborne, the pilot sits suspended beneath the inflated paraglider wing like a pendulum, controlling the flight using right and left brake toggles and a handheld throttle for adjusting motor speed. Some paramotors are equipped with trimmers and a speed bar to adjust the angle of incidence and the angle of attack for increased or reduced speed. Yaw and roll or turning are generally controlled through brake toggles and weight shifting, while tip brakes and stabilo steering can be used for more precise control or as required by the wing manufacturer. The throttle primarily controls pitch. Increasing throttle causes a pitch up and climb, but does not increase airspeed, unlike regular aircraft. In many countries, including the United States, powered paragliding is minimally regulated and does not require a license. The ability to fly both low and slow safely, the open-air experience, minimal equipment and maintenance costs, and the portability of the setup are among the key benefits of this type of flying. Unpowered sailplanes or glider. A glider or sailplane is a type of aircraft used in the sport and leisure activity of gliding, also known as soaring. This unpowered aircraft can utilize naturally occurring currents of rising air, such as thermals, to gain altitude without the need for an engine. Sailplanes are designed to be aerodynamically efficient, allowing them to fly significant distances with minimal altitude loss. They can also be towed by another aircraft to a desired altitude before being released to glide, or they can be launched from a hillside by rolling or running down a slope. Sailplanes are characterized by their long, thin wings, slender fuselage, and smooth surfaces, all of which help minimize drag and maximize lift. These features enable them to climb efficiently in rising air and glide long distances at high speeds in still air with minimal loss of height. There are also ultralight gliders, which are a subcategory of sailplanes that meet specific regulations. The key differences between ultralight gliders and their heavier counterparts lie in their design and performance. Ultralight gliders are built for lighter weights, have lower surface loads, and are required to have a lower VSO stall speed, resulting in lower kinetic energy on landing, shorter landing runs, and increased safety during field landings. However, they have limitations, such as not being allowed to perform aerobatics and having less penetration and lower performance compared to modern classic gliders. One of the advantages of ultralight gliders is that they can be built by amateurs and maintained and repaired with minimal oversight from inspectors, offering more accessibility to enthusiasts who want to be hands-on in the construction and upkeep of their aircraft. Lighter than air. Lighter than air flight was the first method used to take to the skies. Commonly referred to as an airship, it is a type of aerostat, or lighter-than-air aircraft capable of navigating through the air under its own power. Aerostats achieve lift by using buoyancy from a gas that is less dense than the surrounding air. Early dirigibles relied on hydrogen for lift due to its high capacity and availability, but its flammability led to several fatal accidents, making hydrogen airships obsolete. Helium, which is non-flammable but rare and expensive, became the alternative. Significant helium deposits were first found in the United States, and for a time, it was only available for airship use in North America. Since the 1960s, most airships have used helium, though some have employed hot air. The envelope of an airship may serve as the gas bag or contain several gas-filled cells. An airship also includes engines, a crew, and optionally payload accommodation, typically housed in one or more gondolas suspended below the envelope. While not nearly as prevalent as some of the other types, there are lighter-than-air ultralights as well, including backpack balloons and even powered airships, so long as they meet the other ultralight criteria. The United States Federal Aviation Regulations, CFR 14 Part 103, offer a unique opportunity for those who have always wanted to become pilots but have not yet earned a pilot certificate or are too young to do so. Under Part 103, individuals can fly certain hot air balloons and airships without needing a pilot certificate, training, annual inspections, registration, or other regulatory requirements. There are no age, knowledge, experience, or physical requirements for pilots of ultralight aircraft. The FAA's ultralight regulations allow solo flight in any hot air balloon with an empty weight of 155 pounds or less. For powered ultralights, including airships, the empty weight limit is 254 pounds. This weight includes the envelope, burners, basket, fuel tanks, and structural equipment, but not the propane fuel for the burners, only the weight of the empty tanks and plumbing counts. The balloon or airship must not have a US or foreign airworthiness certificate, and passengers are not allowed. Ultralights are intended solely for recreational or sport flying, and cannot be used for business purposes. While there is no maximum limit for the amount of propane on board, but in the case of a powered ultralight, which a hot air airship qualifies, there is a 5-gallon limit for fuel used for forward propulsion. The maximum empty weight limit for a powered ultralight is raised to 254 pounds, and the maximum airspeed is 55 knots. Though achieving such speed in a hot air airship would be quite a feat,